Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to BBQ Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rachelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to BBQ Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed, joined by my lovely wife and talented and beautiful, did I say that? Miss Southern Shell. And we got a special guest today, Mr. Mark Williams from Swine Life. Mark, what's happening, man?
And we're making it, having a good day.
You ready to eat some more crawfish?
I am. I kind of want to do it this weekend.
Man, I tell you what, this quarantine ban and stuff, if we can get under 10 people, I don't think we had 10 last time.
No. We can eat another.
Not all at one time.
Yeah, not at one time. Yeah. We had to cycle them out because we didn't want to break any laws. I don't know if they put
headlines outside.
Governor Tate's put a proclamation on us, but we did not break them. We had, 66 pounds of crawfish we cooked, and there wasn't a one left. Them jokers were good.
They was good.
But today, Shell, what are we going to talk about? We got to talk first. We're going to talk about that. Is there anything you want to get off your chest before we get going?
No, I didn't have any other notes, but yeah, we're going to talk about the crawfish video y'all did this week.
I do have some sad news. Memphis in May has been officially canceled. They haven't got an official.
It's not canceled. It's postponed.
Moved to the fall. Supposedly, they're working on dates, but.
Memphis in the fall.
It's going to be so crazy, man. Everything's trying to move to the fall, and there's going to be so much jammed in there from assuming we're going to get to go back to normal health here soon, but
maybe they'll move deer season. And
I don't know what we're going to do with that, man. We got dove season, and then we roll into deer season, and then we got all these contests moving, and just everything I had planned is canceled. The next one on my list now is in June, and I'm just hoping, got my fingers crossed that Puskew ain't canceled down in Montgomery. I mean,
that's a big one.
That's gonna be a big one at Wind Creek. How many thousands is it? Is the purse up?
75.
Ooh, that's a big one. That's a monster.
We got a room. We ready.
You gonna haul one of the outlaws down there?
Outlaw Hybrids going with us. Stay in the hotel at the casino.
I think everything will be
hopefully
died back down.
Just gotta let this virus die out.
Yeah.
Before we all do.
All right, so crawfish.
So this week, since it is the spring and the trees are blooming and it's supposed to be barbecue season and the crappie are biting.
You're supposed to invite all your friends over to your house.
You're supposed to invite them over and have a big crawfish boil. And so we wanted to share with everybody pretty much the recipe that me and Mark's been working on for going on 3-4 years now. We've been cooking because, when I first met Mark, he started having a crawfish party kind of for your birthday. It was always right around the 1st of May. I don't know exactly.
Usually end of April, 1st of May, we had one. And
we've been cooking crawfish for a long time, and we kind of got
a very, very old crawfish cooking video.
Yeah, we did in the old house in the backyard, one pot style.
Yeah, your method has changed.
It has, and this method we did Cajun Blaze tell us about the soak method first?
We were at Springfest, and he brought those one up there, and we asked him how he cooked them. That's what he said. They'd boil them in salt water and then soak them.
Yeah.
I was like, if we're boiling in salt water, we're gonna boil them in everything.
We're gonna take up another notch. Yeah. Why would you just do salt water? I mean, I understand they're not in there long. They're not picking up a lot of flavor, but I'm also flavoring that water with some live crawfish to cook the sides in it. So the sides pick up some essence of the crawfish. You could boil them in plain salt water. Heck, whatever you want. Don't let me tell you how to do it.
I mean, I'm sure you pick up a good bit of flavor during the boil.
Yeah.
But not like you do in soak. But
the ideal is, instead of using one pot, if you're going to cook multiple sacks of crawfish, it probably isn't worth it just to do one bag. If you're going to do one bag, just throw some ice in there, chill the pot. I've seen some people chill the outside of the pot with just a water hose. You picked up a cool thing down at Grills in Mississippi.
The Boil Boss. And it works. I mean, it's just like a hula hoop with holes in it. And you hang it on the pot, turn the water on, and about 3 minutes, it's down to 160.
And you stir it the whole time to kind of bring it down.
But
so it's got a little...
That's the same idea of putting the ice in it.
Well, you just don't dilute your water. I mean, used to,
How do you not dilute your water if you're adding more water?
It goes on the outside of the pot. It hangs. It's got these little brackets.
The pot.
It has these little brackets. You kind of take the lid off, and you put this hoop around the pot. So think of a sprinkler, a round sprinkler, right?
I mean, worst case, you could throw the yard sprinkler under the pot.
Just let it
work.
I don't know what that do to your burner, but the ideal is lower the temperature on that pot so the crawfish will fill up with juice and sink to the bottom. Because if you noticed in the video, when you boil it, I don't care if it's shrimp, crawfish, whatever, it's going to float to the top. That's just what they want to do.
Well, before we get into it too deep, if you haven't seen the video, walk me through real quick the steps.
So, first thing, you need some crawfish. You got to source some crawfish. Now, we're lucky here. And if you're from Louisiana, you're gold mine. They're probably get them for $1.50 a pound right now. They're more expensive than that up here. This time of year, the prices dropped this week big time. I was seeing like first of the week $2.85. Now I've seen people advertising $2.05 down in Coldwater, which is 20 minutes down the road. So the prices have dropped big time, which probably demand nobody's getting together cooking crawfish. That's to be expected. But we sourced ours from Crawfish Haven up in Horn Lake. We've been getting them from there for a while. There's what's the name of the place? Porter's Seafood. I get a weekly text from him. You can sign up for his text and he'll shoot you the prices. There's all kinds of places you can buy them up here now. People truck them up by the ton. In our part of the country, crawfish has really come on in the past 5-10 years. I mean, I didn't grow up eating crawfish, but as we got older and got to cooking barbecue, you started seeing more of them, and it's really been a great industry. A lot of the catfish farms over in Arkansas even switched to crawfish too. They'll do catfish and crawfish ponds, so it's a booming thing.
So once we got them, you got to get you some equipment, and you need a pot. If you're doing them like we are and you're going to do multiple sacks, get you 2 pots to set up the soak and the cook pot. What's the price of you call it a crawfish cooking rig. What's the price?
I think Academy has them like burner and pot for under $150.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, they're way cheaper than that.
Does that come with the basket too? Okay.
Yeah,
so that'll get you a rig for $150.
You can get them at Walmart now. You can get them at Academy, Amazon. Bayou Classics, the one I have. I don't know which one yours was. I've had mine for probably over 10. Hey, no, longer than that. I've had it way before we got married.
We bought the pot. The one we soaked in was the one that come from Restaurant Depot.
Okay.
And we actually built a burner. That was an old turkey fryer burner. And we just put a piece of gas pipe with some grease zerts and knocked the zert out where it's just a jet and it works great.
Well, mine is a Bayou Classic burner that was probably about $40 and the pot was probably $60 or $70. So I'm less than $100 in mine. And that's really all you need. Now, you don't have to have that fancy crawfish washer because the next thing you got to do is clean your crawfish. And everybody's got different takes on how you should purge crawfish. Should you put the salt on them and soak them? Well, what's your take on it?
You used to.
Oh, I used to before I read the study that LSU did, and they come out to say that the salt only does what?
Kill them.
Kills the crawfish.
I mean,
they don't. It's not. Everybody had this. There used to be people said you put salt on and fill them with water, it's going to make them spit up all the nasty stuff in them. That is not true. That's a myth, and they busted at LSU.
I mean, a crawfish lives in fresh water.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't want to do anything that might kill that crawfish before you cook it. You know?
Exactly.
The only way I know of to truly purge and get one clean is some of these guys actually have the tanks.
It's like a live well.
Yeah, they put them in there, put them in fresh water. It rotates the water out, and it's in perfectly clean water.
For how long?
Overnight. I mean, 24 hours, I would assume.
24 hours, yeah.
I mean, it's nothing you do in a few hours.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you call that a purge. It's really not purging.
You're just cleaning them out.
All we're doing is washing them.
Yeah.
And the thing, that crawfish washer, it's a plastic tub that has a drain hole in the bottom and a water hose hookup. Well, that water hose has this sprayer that's mounted on the inside of the tub, and it just throws the water up against the side, which creates like a vortex in it. Think of a whirlpool. And that makes the crawfish spin around. So you fill it up with water, you dump the crawfish in it, fill it up with water, let it spill over the top. Just as it starts to trickle over the top, you pull the drain plug. So you got fresh water going in, you got the nasty, dirty, muddy water coming out, and then you got any trash or debris that's getting circulated to the top because of the whirlpool spilling over the sides, and the crawfish don't come out.
No.
You would think they do. The only thing that I've seen happen with them is if it's a really nasty sack of crawfish, that drain plug can get stopped up with debris. Then you'll have to get a stick or jam something up in there and drain it. But it ain't no big deal.
I mean, the way we used to do it is with old wash baskets, like a laundry basket with mesh and shake it. I mean, that works fine, but it's a lot easier just turn the water on and walk away.
We used to do it when I first learned how to cook them. We purged them in a cooler. We would put like a milk crate in one end of the cooler where the drain is and dump the crawfish in there and then fill that cooler up and stir them and just keep putting fresh water in and letting that water drain out into like a big igloo style 180 quart cooler or something like that. It works perfect. I've even done them if you have a multiple pots, or if you want to purge them first, you can pour them in your basket and use your pot you're cooking in to purge them, and you kind of, how we twist them around just like you do with the strainer basket. Get them clean in that, set them out in the shade. dump that dirty water out, rinse your pot good, and then start your seasoning, boiling. So you don't. I mean, there's ways around it.
How much is the crawfish washer?
It's not much.
$50 or $60. They are kind of proud of that, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it is worth it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
If you're going to do it a couple times a year. Yeah.
I mean, you can turn the water on. Me and you can go prep whatever, cut sausage, get potatoes ready. You're not dedicated to that washer. You can turn it on, walk away, and 10 minutes it's done.
So, and they made that thing to wash dove breast out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
It was meant to. It was in a 5-gallon bucket. They got the same setup. Throw all your dove breast, duck breast, whatever you're out in the field on a hunt, your birds, and throw them in there, and the water circulates it and gets all the feathers and blood and all that off. It cleans those dove breasts up the same kind of way.
How important is it to wash the crawfish?
Very important. You don't want to be eating that. I mean, they live in mud.
Yeah.
So they're dirty as they can be. Now sometimes you see these guys selling them, they're pre-purged crawfish or already washed. And I think all they're doing is washing the sacks down. Because, I mean,
spraying it.
yeah, it's still got plenty of dirt. Man, I found bait in there. I found, there's always some dead ones because they get crushed because, they're just stacking them up on top of each other in the trucks and stuff. So you want to get the dead ones out. You want to get the debris out and get the mud off of them. When that water's clear, they're as clean as they're going to be. Then they're ready for the boiling pot.
And I think the biggest thing too is if you're not getting them good and clean like that, where it's crystal clear water, you're cooking the mud on them. Yeah. And if you're doing multiple cooks, the dirtier your water gets. And I've seen it. I mean, when we done it years ago, when we really didn't know what we was doing, at least we thought, as you cook about the 4th or 5th pot, your pot's no longer red. You don't have that red water.
It's brown water. I've seen that too. But
they were good crawfish, but
yeah.
So let's talk about the water, the boil. So we got 2 pots set up, and we're running them both with about 40 gallons of water, about halfway.
40 quarts.
Yeah, 40 quarts. Yeah, that'd be a lot of water, wouldn't it, gallons?
That's a crawfish.
So what we do to it, Mark?
Okay.
So basically, I would say the best measure is as your pot, half it. So if you got a 60 quart, fill it halfway up, should be about 30 quarts. And you want to have enough space in there to where when you do drop 30 pounds of crawfish in that pot or however much your pot can handle, it don't overflow, and you still got room if you want to add anything else to it. And, give them plenty of room to where them crawfish can move around, because if they're all tied up, it's not going to cook as good, just like in a smoker. You got to have water flow just like you do airflow in a smoker.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing, is have the pot that's the right size for the amount you're trying to cook, and go from there, man. Season it. I seen where a couple people say, man, y'all went heavy, but really
that's flavor.
You can't go too heavy. I mean,
have you ever had any that were too heavy?
No.
Like the only
I've
time
had plenty that I was like, there ain't no seasoning.
Yeah.
they're flat or just don't taste.
The only
like
time
anything.
that I've tasted where crawfish like that's way too much is when it's all on the outside.
When they've seasoned it,
you're not
going to
mess that water up.
So we put 4.5 pounds of dry mix. You could use whatever kind. I bought it because it's already bagged up at Walmart. 4.5 pounds of the Louisiana, and then I also bought the gallon of the liquid. And the liquid's really where you get some heat. You get some flavor from it too, but the liquid brings the heat. Now we put 32 ounces. You can, if you don't like them spicy, back it back to about 20 ounces. But you definitely need some. And then we dumped a shaker of grit,
shaker of each,
shaker of AP.
So what's the point of adding the 2 shakers of seasoning?
I like ours is for the garlic, some of the pepper spice, and then to add some more salt. We also added a regular cup of kosher salt. I used to, before we started using AP, we would dump one whole box, just like the cylinder box. I don't know what that, 1 pound.
Yeah, I think
of regular table salt, and that would get them there. But I think when Mark, we were out in the garage one day cooking them. We was like, we were just experimenting with stuff, and we do that all the time. We said, let's put a bottle of AP in there. It's salt, and then
with other flavors, yeah.
So Mark came out with this grit, which has some citrus notes to it, and we said, man, let's throw some of that in there and see if it's going to bump up that citrus flavor, because that goes with seafood, with crawfish. And so we added a bottle of that. And then we added some lemon juice for a little extra bump, stick of butter, and then the vinegar makes them tail out. That's what a lot of people don't know. But if you'll put 1 stick of butter. And
what's the butter for?
It adds, I guess it just adds like an oil to it, and it helps the flesh release from the tail. So you don't have to peel them as much. They're going to pinch. If you cook them just right, they're going to pinch and pop right out.
Yeah.
You don't even really have to. Like I showed our people how to pull that segment off. A true crawfish eater can just pop it. That's just, you wasted time pulling it, but you got to show rookies how to peel it off. But so that's all we put in there with the vinegar, the butter, the lemon, the 2 rubs, the dry and the wet and regular salt.
So what if somebody doesn't have the AP in the grip? What could they substitute?
Just throw in more salt, more lemon. That's what I would do.
Or use your favorite all-purpose.
Yeah, just all purpose.
Yeah,
Don't be scared of anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's going to take up to a pound of salt, and it ain't going to hurt to have a little more. It's not going to be too salty, I promise you.
I think a lot of it too is with that being the garlic powder in those rubs, it gets more in the water.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas a lot of times, we used to add tons of garlic cloves, but I really couldn't say it added that much to the water as much as this like powdered garlic does.
But but in that granular form, it does give it that flavor. And that's what I like. Our juice, the juice that we suck out of the heads has all that flavor. You're really tasting it. And it's not blowing your head off. I mean, you eat them sometimes and they're just not plain. They don't have anything. You just suck a juice. And then I've had some where it's just all heat. Well, ours are savory. They have a good seafood flavor to it.
Yeah.
And the tail meat picks up some flavor, but the tail meat's kind of neutral. It don't have a lot to it.
You're not going to overpower the tail meat at all.
There's no way. And if you just ate, like a lot of people that, new to crawfish eating, they don't suck the heads. They just eat the tails. And they want that seasoning on the outside. That's the only flavor they're getting because there ain't that much flavor and people not cooking them right. So we did both pots the same way.
Yeah.
We got our boiling pot seasoned the same way. We got our soaking pot seasoned the same way. Both burners running wide open, and we're bringing them to a boil. And what did it take, Mark?
To get them from cold tap water.
That's
to
your
boil,
longest wait time.
Probably 20 to 25 minutes, And that's a lot of water to bring to a boil.
Yeah.
And, there's pots out there to do it a little bit quicker, but then again, how much crawfish you going to cook? Is it justifiable to say, hey, I need that fancy pot that'll do it in 10 minutes?
I need that time to get my beers
Yeah.
in. So while the water's coming to a boil, we drank a few cool ones.
It's very social.
Yeah.
You bring your friends over. Yeah.
And that's one thing that out of all the times we've had crawfish parties at our house, as they got bigger, you lost that social part of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm having to cook everything before they get there. Last year we cooked 9 sacks.
Yeah.
That was a lot of cooking,
That was a lot.
And
Yeah.
There's a lot of entertaining and
Right.
aspect of that too. You got to set up more tables. You got to,
Right. So we boil the pots twice.
And what's the point of that?
Well, we learned we were concentrating that flavor.
How'd you figure that one out?
cook bad crawfish.
Yeah. Well, no, cooking them. And see, we all used to, before we had this recipe, we would put, 2 or 3 pounds in there. We'd get our pots boiling, and then we'd purge them all. And then we'd pull out 2 or 3 pounds and do a little test boil, soak them, and then taste them. And then we noticed that, the flavor, it's always better after we cook the last ones. And it's because we were bringing that pot back and forth to a boil. So we said, we're going to concentrate it now. Cook it down. It evaporates a little bit of the water because of the steam and cooking off. But what it does, it steeps all that seasoning. You make sure it all gets dissolved good. It steeps it. It concentrates it a little bit. And then it's ready to go. It's ready to put maximum flavor in 1 sack of crawfish. And actually, with the soaking pots, did y'all, when y'all boiled 9 bags with the 2 pots set up, I wasn't there for the cooking part. Your cousin was. But did y'all had kept adjusting the seasoning? After how many bags would you think before you need to start?
About 5 bags. We didn't do anything to the boiling pot, just let it roll, but the soaking pot, I think about halfway through, we did notice, you could tell it was starting to pull some of that salt out. You didn't notice the heat as much. You noticed the salt more than anything. So we'd add another cup of salt, hit it with some more dry, a little splash of wet, and roll on, and, it was consistent. And
Were you adding more water to it too? You were just
letting it roll.
Yeah.
So you're saying, our setup should theoretically do about 160 pounds easy.
Pretty easy.
Before you would have to adjust. And that's a lot of crawfish.
You'll notice too, the same thing, that your watercolors won't be the same. And I don't know if it's because you're boiling that one so much more and the soaking pot's not. That soaking pot will keep that bright red, color. And it could be too. It might be cooking some stuff off the shelves. You don't know. But
yeah.
The soak pot usually stays pretty consistent.
And usually you don't have to fire it back up.
No.
Because you think you're always adding these hot crawfish that have been 212 degrees going into that pot. And it's always staying right around 160. It may drop down a little bit, but by the time you put that hot crawfish basket back in it with all that heat, it's heating that back up to about 160, and that's where you want it. And they just soak up all that flavor. And so we boil the first. Let's go back to the boil. We drop our crawfish in the strainer basket. We drop it in our pot that we've done constant 2 boils and let it cool down a little bit, and then fired it right back up. We bring the pot to a boil.
When you put it in there, is it boiling when you drop it?
Yes, yeah, it's boiling when we drop it, and then usually it chills it some.
Yeah.
And it takes it about 3 to 5 minutes to come back to a full boil, and it's still going to be simmering.
Yeah.
But you want it rolling, and that's when you see steam starting to pour out the lid. That's when you start your timer. It's usually 3 to 5 minutes, and then you time it for 3 minutes. Now, this part is really contingent on the time of year and where that crawfish is in its molt process. Early in the season, you don't boil them that long. You might drop them in, start the timer immediately, and let them get out.
When it gets back to a boil, get them out. Deal.
Because when we're talking January, February crawfish, that's when the shell's new. It's really soft. They're just starting to harden up, and that's when crawfish season comes in. Now, this time of year, they're starting to get about right. I mean, from now till right after Easter, a couple weeks into April, their crawfish are premium. The shell's just right. 3-minute cook time's perfect. And you soak them for 20 minutes, and they're good. When you get through April and into May and the hotter months, as the season starts to fizzle out, the shells they're getting big. The shell's getting so hard on them. I mean, it's getting rock hard. Yeah. You got to boil them about 5 minutes, and then you still need to soak them 25 to 30 minutes to get the flavor in there. And then it's still hard to squeeze the shell to get any juice out of them. So it just depends on what time of year.
It'll tear your fingers up.
Oh, yeah.
Eat those.
The ones we cooked 2 weekends ago, they were all fairly small, and you could tell it was still early. And as soon as we dropped them, maybe 5 minutes from that point, we never let it get back to a full roll. We just started the timer, and some of the smaller ones were overcooked in that pot. I mean, it was just, they were all teeny tiny. They were good eating, but they were a lot smaller than what I'd like.
We call them peelers.
Yeah, that's what it was, a bag full of them.
I like the selects. I think that's what they're a little bit bigger.
We can't be that picky.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't really. You got to go with what the market's dictating, what they're putting out. But now's when you start seeing the premium crawfish come in this time of year. I mean, and unfortunately, everybody's, quarantined up, but it should be getting to be prime season. Those guys should be making the most they're going to make. After Easter, price, typically that's when the weekend after Easter is when the price goes down. Usually Easter is that last weekend where they're getting top dollar for crawfish. And then the rest of the second half of the season, they're kind of trickling down. Lowest I've ever seen them in my life around here is probably about $1.25. Now I've heard of them getting them for 50 cents a pound or less down in Louisiana, but we don't ever see them that low.
I've seen about $1.50, and that's. Yeah. I wish we could see that again.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, you might if they're $2.05 this weekend. You don't know where they're going to go. I mean, they may. I mean, they got to do something with them. They got to sell them. So we might see some lower prices. But so now we got them boiled. We timed it 3 minutes. We got our soaking pot off. We done stirred it down to where
160.
It's 160 degrees. If you got your thermometer, stick it in there. If you don't, just guess.
Several people asked where you could get that paddle.
So Boil Boss makes that paddle. And I picked that one up from Grills of Mississippi when we was down there for the class. And I seen that in the Boil Boss. I was like, we got to have that. Like,
yeah.
But no, I was like, man, is this thermometer really going to work as you're sitting there like stirring around? And it's spot on. Yeah. I mean, it made it 10 times easier.
You can watch it. I mean, we used to have the big long stemmed one, like they come with a turkey fryer, and we try to hang it on there and guess. But this one makes it so much easier because you can actually see it. And we showed it in the video, pictures of it. I mean, it dials in. So it goes into that pot.
And you're stirring while you're
20 minutes. And you just kind of stir them around while they're in there. That kind of agitates them. They start filling up with water or the juice from the pot. And then they start getting heavy and they sink down to the bottom. That's when you know they're getting right. And all of them don't sink, but the majority of them do. Yeah, yeah.
And that's too, like if you're worried about your water being too hot, try them at 10 minutes. That may be enough for your taste. We like 20. I'm not scared to go longer than that, but if you're new to it and you think, well, it might be a little bit too spicy, taste them. If they're too hot to you or they're where you want them, get them out,
Yeah. That's it. We always dipping a few out and doing a little toasty. As they go, heck, we tasted them so as they come out of the boiling pod just to see if we had any, see if they had enough flavor. We was gonna throw some more to them.
Heck, I was watching the video today, and heck, I think my lips were already red when we got ready to taste them. I was like, we've been eating crawfish.
You can tell we've been eating them and drinking a few beers.
And the tornado is coming through. Did you notice that? You could really see we
were tasting. I looked, and you see the limbs blowing in the background. I'm like, oh,
and hurried up. Yeah. But we soaked them for 20 minutes. Then we took them out, pour them in a cooler, and just leave them alone. Don't dare put any more seasoning on them, man. That's just a dirty trick. It really is. I
hate that. My fingers will burn. My lips will burn. It'll chap my lips. I hate the seasoning on the outside. That's
some people, I mean, you use gloves sometimes. Some people have to because it burns.
Yeah.
If you get it, depending on did you eat any of these without gloves?
No, I don't.
You don't chance it?
I don't chance it.
That don't faze me. I like it. But these didn't burn your hands and they didn't burn your lips, but they had some heat because they would make you. I mean, there were some of them that when we first was eating them that's my first crawfish of the season to eat, and it's like opening it up.
We were stirring it. I was like, I'm pissing a cough. Like it was getting me.
Let it go. But they turned out really good. So we got our crawfish cooked and in the cooler, just sitting there steaming. I mean, they got enough heat in there that they're still.
I've seen crawfish.
I don't know what temp, but they're hot.
Yeah, I've seen crawfish stay in a cooler for hours and be just as good.
Oh yeah. In fact, to me, when you get down to the bottom of the cooler and they're in that juice in there, that's the ones that I like being the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. We need to try next time, like take the soak pot because it's not going to overcook it. Pour a little bit off in the cooler with
get it off in there.
Scoops.
Because I'm telling you, these at the end of the night, there's probably 2 inches of liquid in there, and those the bottom layer. Mm-hmm. Those were the best ones I ate all day.
All the slackers done left. Now it's time for the real people to
clean
come
up
in and
crew.
eat.
Yeah, the cleanup crew. I had Pickle and Dustin and Austin there. Who's the cleanup crew?
Hey,
the boys did a good job helping too. Now you got to have sides though when you cook crawfish, and we went. Traditionally, I would say, it's always been
corn and
potatoes, corn, and maybe sausage, and that'd be it.
Yeah,
but sausage is expensive, so I kind of fell in love with the old Redskin cheap smoked sausage.
That's the best kind.
And I think it is. I put the good stuff in there. It ain't worth spending that much money.
That's what I was going to say. It's wasting the good stuff.
And if you mess up and get some that's like a smoked sausage, to me, it ruins the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't want that smoky flavor in there. It doesn't go. The Redskin, these are Circle B's. There's all different kinds of Redskin sausage. I'm telling you, those are the
Circle B's the choice for me.
Circle B's the choice for me.
What were they? 5
little
for
plug
5?
there.
5 for 5.
Man, Bernie. No, they're 5 for 20 or something like that. Pick 5.
No, pick 5. That's
pick
what
five.
it is.
Yeah.
Pick
So,
5.
and what were those 2-pound pack? We probably had that was a lot of sausage. Hey, there wasn't much of that stuff left either. But so typically that's all most people start out putting in there. But mushrooms are probably my favorite thing. I could do without the corn. I don't care about corn. The potatoes are just filler. I'm going to get full on crawfish. And so, but the mushrooms, I got to have the mushrooms. I got to have the Redskin.
Garlic.
And the garlic cloves. And so you notice we threw handfuls of garlic cloves in there every time.
And they didn't get over. They were perfect texture.
They were perfect. And I like the onion too.
Me too.
And that's pretty much standard for me. If you're coming to one of my crawfish boils, that's what I'm gonna have.
Now, Mark Williams,
we started playing with all kinds of stuff. So, what's some of the stuff that you like to put in? When we come to your house, what are we having?
My favorite is the pickles. You get the big whole dill pickles and cut them up in chunks. To me, that's my favorite.
They suck up so much flavor.
Man, they'll light you up.
You think a Kool-Aid pickle's good? You get you a crawfish pickle. Man.
We've done pickles. We've done green olives. I like green olives in it.
Green beans.
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, they were a little.
I don't know. To me, you can't cook a green bean like Mama used to cook a green bean in a crawfish pot.
Yeah,
it ain't the same.
It ain't. But, celery.
Brussels sprouts.
Celery's pretty good in there.
Yeah. I like the Brussels sprouts. They just get on everything if you don't time it just right. Pineapple.
That's always kind of the dessert. Whenever you get through cooking everything, you're getting ready to turn the pot off. Just throw some peeled pineapples, leave the top on, and just let it soak until you just about wiped out all the crawfish.
What was it?
Then you bust it out and cut it up and eat it. And it's sweet, but it's got all that flavor.
People love the pineapple.
Oh, they went crazy over it.
What did we do? A chubba bologna last year?
We did a chubba bologna.
It was the most spicy, veiny sausage you've ever ate.
I've done hot dogs in it. Boiled eggs. I've thrown whole eggs off in there. The shell dissolves. I don't know where it goes. It just cooks away. There's no shell.
Do it to your inside.
Yeah, there's no shell. You just end up with this spicy boil. It's not pickled. It's just a spicy boiled egg, and man, they're pretty daggum good in it. I like the eggs.
Who was telling us they put chicken thighs?
I've heard of somebody doing that.
Like, look, get the crawfish out and drop a pack of chicken thighs in there and boil it in the crab bowl.
And then throw it on the grill because
my dad used to do that. He used to take chicken quarters, boil it in crawfish bowl, and then throw it on the grill and do barbecue.
So it's parboiling chicken.
Yeah,
but he didn't boil crawfish.
No, he just did that.
Yeah,
just for chicken.
Just made a pot of big bull chicken pot. Hey,
Try it.
I ain't never tried that. But you could do just about anything you wanted in there for the sides.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, the thing to me is I like doing them separate always, because when you go throwing everything in there, then you put your crawfish in there, none of it cooks all the way properly. Either you're going to undercook your crawfish or you're going to overcook every vegetable you got in there. And I see people put the corn, the potatoes, all that in at the same time. You can't cook if you boil corn long enough to get those potatoes tender, that corn is just the nastiest corn you've ever tried to eat. I mean, it's dry, has no flavor. You've nuked it. I mean, corn don't even really need cooking. It's when they freeze it, it's pretty much cooked. I mean, it just needs to steam back a little in it. And that's why I do my potatoes first. Potatoes, mushrooms, onion, more garlic if you want it. That all could go in at the same time because they have a longer cook time. And we go 10 minutes. Give those little new potatoes a good head start, getting everything soft. It's, softening up the onions. The mushrooms, all they're doing is sponges. They're just absorbing flavor. I don't know if you could overcook the mushroom. But after 10 minutes, we throw in the sausage because it don't need long to cook or you'll bust it to pieces too.
Yeah.
So it needs about 5 minutes. And at that point, you're 15 in, check your little potatoes. They're getting close. And usually it's about 5-7 minutes. Everything's done. Shut it off, drop your corn in. That drops the temp a little bit because that corn's froze. You can do it with fresh corn. It just don't need long to stay in there.
We've done it with fresh corn.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. And then just turn it off and let it sit 5 minutes, and then you're pretty much done at that point.
Now I will say, if you're trying to do it in one pot and you want a good way to cool it off, I've seen people drop the frozen corn straight from the deep freeze once the crawfish are done and use the corn to cool the water.
That's a good.
And
idea.
it won't cool. You're still going to cook the corn.
Yeah.
But it's a good shock factor to get it to cool off a little bit quicker.
Gotcha.
So you're not adding the ice to dilute
Right.
it.
You're using the frozen corn.
That is a good tip.
When do you try okra?
Man, it's slimy.
He hates okra.
I don't think it would work.
I don't mind some slimy okra.
Oh man, I don't like it.
One thing that y'all have started doing here lately.
Cauliflower's good. Hey, just put a head of cauliflower
Yeah,
in there. That's good.
One thing y'all have started doing lately is bringing a sauce to dip your potatoes and stuff in.
We're highfalutin when it comes to crawfish.
So you've made a remoulade.
I make a remoulade.
And you do
I've done the Russian dressing that we use for the Reuben video, and it works.
So walk me through that, because what got me was the horseradish. I loved it.
So it's basically to make the small batch. It's a cup of mayo, I think.
You love that, I know, Shell.
And it's Duke's.
Oh, Duke's, not Blue Plate. Oh.
They didn't have Blue Plate. We was trying to buy all this with the crazy folks at Walmart,
Man.
But
Blue Plate's the first one to go.
it's that I think a half a cup or quarter cup of the chili sauce.
Yeah.
Heinz
chili
sauce. That's the kind you put the meatballs and the grape jelly in.
And the recipe calls for like 1 tablespoon. I want me 1 giant tablespoon of horseradish. And what I've been doing with horseradish here lately is actually put it in take a small bowl, put a paper towel in it, and spoon the horseradish in it, then squeeze all that juice out of the horseradish.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And it doesn't make your sauces as runny. It's more of a creamier style sauce.
Yeah.
And then salt and pepper to taste and a little bit of Worcestershire and hot sauce.
And that's it.
That's it.
It was excellent dipping sauce.
Yeah.
It was excellent. I know it was good.
It was good on the Reuben, but it was really good with crawfish.
Pork Reuben, right? That's what you
Yes.
did last.
Pulled pork Reuben. But
Oh, man, I wish you'd have brought me some of that. That sounds so good.
So what do you do if you have leftover crawfish?
Okay.
turn in your man card.
No, no, we usually try to cook enough to have. And I thought I just knew I was going to have some extra crawfish that we were going to tell out and freeze because I
Saturday,
love making stuff with it. I use it in gumbo. I use it for a crawfish dip, like the hot dip I do on the smoker. I use it in jambalaya. I make etouffee. And so there's all kinds of recipes. But what's the number one thing you got to do?
Peel them and devein.
You got to get that vein out. You got to get all that out.
I made that mistake one time. Man.
What'd it do? Just ruin it?
Oh yeah, it was after one of our crawfish parties, and it was midnight, and we're out there trying to peel some crawfish and put them in a bag. I didn't think nothing about it. Next day, I was like, I'm gonna do crawfish mac and cheese. I dumped them in there and run that spoon through that mac and cheese, and it looked like black worms everywhere. And I'm like,
all those
Never
veins
mind.
in there. No, you got to pull that out when you do them, and it does take a little time to sit down, especially after you've been eating crawfish all day, drinking beer, cleaning the pots, all that stuff, and sit there and
Well,
peel
you
them.
peel two and you eat one. You peel two and you eat one.
That's usually you have a peel party, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get 3 or 4 beers and sit there and pile them up and just mow through them and then bag them up. And whoever helped you gets to take a bag. You just divide them up equally.
Have you ever seen anyone just take them as is without peeling them and freeze them?
I never have. But
I've
going back
heard-
to Springfest, how Adam and Jason brought them up cold. Cajun Blaze guys.
And they were just in a sack, refrigerated. They'd never been froze. And I was like, I don't know about no cold crawfish.
I didn't want to eat any cold crawfish either. I never.
Did they serve them cold?
Yeah, that's what they
Straight out the cooler.
Oh.
And they were excellent. I liked them. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like it just seemed like cold shrimp. You know,
Yeah,
it really wasn't no
yeah.
difference, but
You
They weren't
peeled 'em and
peeled.
stuff?
they wasn't peeled or nothing, but they peeled great, come right out of the shell.
That'd be my concern that you'd be fighting it, you know.
No, I didn't suck
When
no
it got
heads on
cold.
those.
The cold ones. You know, just refrigerated seafood, man. I'm okay if I buy a shrimp cocktail and like take it home and eat it, but I ain't fixing to let the shrimp cocktail sit in the refrigerator. I mean, maybe if you cooked them and then ate them the next day, I could see it, but like as far as eating it for a few days later, just throwing it in the cooler and traveling with it and breaking it out and eating it.
I wonder if you could.
None of that for the kid. I ain't doing it.
I wonder if you could
Call
freeze
me a
them in the
fool.
bowl.
I ain't doing it.
What?
I wonder if you could freeze them in the bowl.
I don't know. You know, you buy those. I'm sure they're Vietnamese crawfish. You see they come in the little tray. You can get the frozen section.
They're a weird color red. That ain't a red crawfish.
That's that old Chinese buffet crawfish. I don't know. Them are crayfish. Them aren't crawfish like we eat. That's a whole different species from around the other side of the earth. But I don't mess with those. I mean, I have tried. Honestly,
Oh yeah.
when we first
We've all
started cooking
tried it.
crawfish. So my crawfish cooking goes back to, well, I guess we were watching NASCAR back probably in high school. Got the idea we was going to cook some crawfish. That's before anybody had crawfish trucks. There wasn't nobody selling them up here. The only place you ever got them is if you went down to Louisiana in the spring.
And who told you how to cook them?
Oh, probably one of Justin Wilson's old cookbooks. We bought 2 or 3 of those little boxes of frozen ones. We got our turkey pot out, set it on the stove. We didn't have no burner. Well, we might have had a turkey burner, but we wouldn't do. We was doing it inside. We dropped them in there, tried to season it with just the liquid stuff in those old packs that just had the. It's not the dry powder. It's like this net, almost
Yeah,
like
it's like a tea.
like a tea bag full of
Yeah.
crawfish or crab balls. What it was. We had that in there and had it seasoned up. And we was throwing everything in there, and we put. Man, you couldn't eat not a one of them. They were just the fishiest, stunk the whole house up thing. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. So that's when we went to trying to figure out how to get live crawfish. And we ended up finding somebody that was driving down. They'd bring those shrimp man,
Yeah.
Shrimp man would come up and he'd bring you a sack of crawfish and we'd cook crawfish. And so had a Killer Hogs barbecue team, and we got the idea we were going to do our fundraisers. This was back when we had zero money. And to do a barbecue contest or to
We
have
had
something.
27 team members.
Yeah. So we were going to have, we printed up tickets, wristbands. Everybody had to sell 10. We bought, I think that first one was 4 sacks of crawfish, and everybody brought a turkey pot and a burner. I'm talking about the frying turkey pot now. And so we
Still had a grease line in it.
we were at a place, we were at Reedmeister's up off Park Avenue. I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. It was one of Neil's, Neil's.
Yeah. I don't think
It was
it's
his,
still
like,
there.
named after his son or something. It was just a little hole in the wall college
It's
bar.
the Daily Planet now, or it used to be the Daily Planet.
Yeah,
back in the day.
but they let us use it like a Friday slow night I don't know if it was in the spring or with no sports going on there.
Yeah.
And they said, y'all can come have your crawfish bowl. So we charged, I forget what it was, $10-20 a head. You got a t-shirt or we sold t-shirts too. And we were out there trying to cook these crawfish. We didn't really know what we was doing. We just had an idea. And we cooked. It took us, I remember, we still had crawfish to cook at the end of the night. Nobody was really eating them. I mean, we was cooking them and giving trays of them, but it was 4 sacks. And I remember it taking us 8 hours to cook them. We'd cook a little, you can't cook that much in these little turkey pots. You can't cook about 5 or 6 pounds at a time. So we'd cook them, dump them out, and they'd get 8. And we cook them, dump them out, and,
Self-serve, single tray.
We were still, it was just the old to-go box like we still use. But we kept doing that. The next year, we ended up getting some crawfish pots. And Pickle had a buddy, Jimmy Locke, that he used to cook them for down at the Crawfish Alley in Tunica, a big crawfish fundraiser. And Bim's like, you want somebody to come show us how to cook crawfish? I'll get Jimmy to come do it. And so from then on, Jimmy started coming up.
That's when your crawfish started getting.
That's who I learned to cook crawfish from, was Jimmy. And so he knew what he was doing. And we would have a dozen 80 quart or 100 quart, 120 quart pots. And we were cooking, 2,500 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, we were cooking some crawfish then. And we had,
But people were showing up to actually eat.
yeah, I mean, we'd have 1,000 people come. And, I mean, it was a party. We'd have bands, and we had the whole back end of Bobos. I mean, we had that for several years. Those were some good Killer Hogs parties. That was back in the day.
We had a T-shirt made up. I'll have to find it.
Well,
Do you know which one I'm talking about? It was very like. Do you remember those old Big Johnson T-shirts?
yeah.
The same kind of artwork, and it said, "It ain't gonna suck itself." And it was a crawfish in a hot tub with a bunch of.
He was in a big pot. Fred drew it for me. Fred Poochie drew it for me. They had a big giant pot, like a hot tub, and had a bunch of those big Johnson's girls in there with bikinis. Big crawfish sitting there coming out of the pot. That was. Oh, I wish I still had that T-shirt.
I have one somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, I've kept one of all.
I used to have one that had the sleeves cut off. It was my boat shirt. It was, but they ended up brown. You know, you get in lake water, and it ended up all brown stained. It was. It finally just dissolved. You know,
Next
like a good pair of
crawfish
underwear.
video, that's what you're wearing.
Yeah, if I could find it. I need to bring that one back. I still have the image somewhere.
I got it. I'm gonna have
I
to
at least get a
find
new
it.
T-shirt made. But that's how you cook crawfish, man. That's how you do it.
There is no wrong way.
There really
That's
ain't.
what I was
You can
gonna say. There's
season
a
it.
lot of different methods, really.
But I mean, that's what we've done is just try it.
The directions on the back.
Yeah.
Just follow that. Whatever.
What does it say? This treats 1 pound of. What does that Zatarain say on the back? It's like this bag's for this many pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll never work.
They'll never do that. Yeah.
All right.
Or the little liquid bottle. This does 20 pounds of
Yeah.
crawfish or crab or shrimp. No. I'm telling you, give that one a try, man.
It's a good one.
It is.
It's a
good method.
lockdown, jam up crawfish recipe.
And you could pull back on the seasoning if you're afraid.
You could.
You just wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Base it on your soak. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't pull back on seasoning because once you pull back, there's no coming back from it.
What you're going to do is sprinkle them and then you done ruin it to everybody.
So you're saying maybe limit the amount of time you're soaking them.
Yeah.
At 10 minutes, try it.
I'm telling you, the reason why people don't want to add that much to it is because it's expensive. To put all that stuff in there, crawfish cooking is not cheap. I mean, you got to look at how much you paid for the crawfish and then how much you paid for all the seasonings, the rubs to go in it. But it's meant to feed a lot of people, so you get everybody to pitch in, and that's kind of what we always done. Throw in 10. You want to eat? Throw in $10. Throw in $15. It'll go towards what we spend on it.
$10.
Yeah.
What is it now? $20, $30?
I've never made money cooking.
You
crawfish.
you don't. You never.
You
make
lose
money.
every
You just
crawfish
hope you get
party.
some beer money. It's just fun.
So don't want to cut y'all off, but I want to talk about starting a barbecue YouTube channel. Mark, you have your own barbecue YouTube channel. We got ours.
We do.
We have. So I pulled up. We started June 3rd of 2010.
This will be 10 years, June 3rd.
Mm-hmm. When did you start? When did you upload your first one?
June of 2019.
Oh, really? Okay.
We'll have to celebrate.
9 years
birthday.
later. Yeah. Anniversaries, huh? We're going to have our 10-year anniversary.
But I feel like we have two different perspectives because I don't remember just starting out that much. Do you?
No.
And I think there's a lot
because we
different
had
back
no
then.
clue.
Yeah.
We had absolutely no clue
didn't
what
know
we were
what we were
doing.
doing.
And we still don't a lot of times.
That's very true. But I think things have changed a lot too.
Yeah.
In the past 10 years. So I just kind of wanted us to talk about that because there's a lot of people. We get a lot of questions.
I come up with a lot of questions. I printed them out for you there.
Yep, I got it.
A lot of them had to do with starting why you want to start a YouTube channel. I was
Yeah.
going to let Mark answer some of them.
All right.
So, I mean, my thing was, we got the rubs and I felt like at the point in the game where we are, we kind of just plateaued. There was no, we had a rub, but, we're no world champion. So how are you going to get the information out there that we have a product that we truly stand behind, that we, take a lot of pride in? And that's the first thing. Anytime you do anything to look for something, you go to YouTube.
Yep.
I mean, just the other day I was talking to guys like, I was trying to change oil on my four-wheeler. Went to YouTube, step by step. And everybody, I mean, that's like,
It's the world's largest search
oh,
engine.
yeah. I mean,
It used to be Google, and Google kind of turned into a verb, I guess, or what,
Yeah.
you Google it. Now you YouTube it.
Yeah.
It's not a thing anymore. It's something you do.
I know somebody told me to Google it one time.
It's probably me.
It was.
She'll tell you that in the reboot real quick, won't she?
But I mean,
IT shell.
hey, Shell, how'd I do this? Did you ask Google? No, don't ask me.
Ask Google first.
Yeah. But I mean,
Ask me.
it's, we've been lucky enough to have y'all and, have y'all as a close friend. And I mean, y'all are like the benchmark. Like that's what every barbecue channel out there looks towards y'all, and y'all been very successful. And I mean, that can't do nothing but inspire people that are just getting started. So why not? I mean,
so how did you get started? What was that process like? You got a camera?
Bought a camera. We bought just a little Nikon camera. Definitely invested in mics. I was not going to do a video without it because, I mean, that makes all the difference in the world.
What kind of mics?
The little lapel mics, the Zoom Audio, I think is what they are. Same ones I think y'all used to run or may still do. And, you know.
H1 Zoom.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, handy mic. And a lot of people use the Rode mics that are attached to the camera. I haven't quite mastered those yet.
I've tried. It don't. And don't be scared to fail. It's going to be, that was my biggest thing, is like getting over the hump. And, you know, I'm just a country boy, mush mouth, been Boomhauer barbecue for a long time. And I mean, just
you got to roll with it.
Yeah, you just got to go. And
don't listen to the comments.
Well,
don't even look at them.
I had that as one of the questions. How do you get comfortable on camera? Because I get that a lot. You know, how do you just decide, or is it something you knew you had some camera presence before you started, or you just started?
I was a nervous wreck. Still get nervous. I mean,
what do you tell somebody they're asking you how to get?
Just do it. I mean, that's the only way you're going to get comfortable. There is no class, there is no video you can watch to make you feel comfortable in front of camera other than doing it. And that's the thing. If you've seen what really went on to make that video,
behind the scenes.
I mean, it takes me 30 minutes to get the intro in. So once you get past the intro, I'm good. But it's, don't worry about it. There's always a way to fix it. And if you can't figure out how to fix what you've done, Google it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And we do that all the time.
And you can keep them really simple.
Yeah. And I enjoy it now. I mean, at first I was like, man, we got to do a video, but now it's like, you really enjoy it and, be yourself and sound like you're excited about doing this video, and it goes a lot smoother. So
what else do you have aside from, you have your Nikon, you got a lapel mic?
Invest in lights.
And lights, yeah.
We were lucky enough in our house that we kind of knew this is what we were going to do when we built our house. So I tried to make the kitchen as bright as I could. And then, I think we paid $70 for 3 lights. Set them up, plug them in, adjust them, because you can get too light.
Yeah.
I was glowing one day, and I was like, that's not going to work.
You need a powder to come in. Makeup.
That's the only thing I haven't done yet. Shell, you do Malcolm's makeup?
No, we don't do any makeup.
No, we just run it all natural brow. The news guys do.
Yeah, when do you get some makeup crew?
We're trying to be authentic.
I glow too much for makeup. Barbecue sweats. But so
one thing I will say is consistency. That's what's really, because you've gone to, what are you at? You're over 10,000 subscribers.
We
right
should
now.
be 13,000 this week.
That's crazy in a year. That's great. And you start monetizing at what, 1,000?
1,000.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 subscribers. And when we first looked at it and I talked to y'all, we were looking over, it's like, you got to have 4,000 hours of view time. I'm like, is there even 4,000 hours in the year? Like, how do you see that much, But it just happened.
Yeah.
I mean.
But do you think that it's the consistency of it? It's not just that you did one great video. It's that you've done a bunch of videos.
Try to stay consistent and be genuine. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Don't try to be somebody you're not. And I mean, I've had comments there's like, man, you're like Malcom Reed. Well, thank you. Like, I appreciate that, But I mean, I've learned what we do from y'all. I mean, that's part of it, and you just find your niche, I mean, a lot of our recipes are a little bit different. I try to be very authentic and have a recipe that maybe you just don't find in a cookbook, or maybe that somebody's never done. Not that I have never done it, but it's something I try. Well, that worked. We can make this better until you get it solid. And I mean, that's kind of like the mustard butter. Everybody's like, man, mustard and butter on steak, but it works.
It's very good.
Just kind of step out of your box and find your own thing and go with it.
So how do you come up with the recipes you're going to do? Is it something you plan out, or?
For the most part, it's either something we've already cooked. I'm not going to dry run a recipe because I've done that.
Not to.
I've done that one time, and that video did not make it. So
he runs a lot.
Not a lot. I don't like to.
Well, I mean, you gotta. I'm not saying you cook the exact recipe, but you got a good idea. Like, you know that you've made this sauce before. You've cooked this protein before. You make it work and put it together.
And if it's something really unusual, we always do a
Practice runs, some dry runs to
Yeah.
get it right.
And I mean, just cook, you know. I mean, we're going to cook every. That's another thing is, you know, we cooked every weekend. Why not film a little bit of it and, you know, turn it into something more than just cooking at home
and share it with people.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. I want other people to cook it and put their spin on it and give them ideas. Like I get ideas from people and, you know, just share. I think that's the biggest part of it. You know, it's helping everybody cook better by you putting that out there. That's a big thing to me. While, you know, kind of why I do what I do, because I love other people telling me that they've tried it and they did this to it, and, you know, and it turned out great, or it blowed their friends away. You know, everybody thinks they're the king now because they took these recipes and they made them their own. I mean, that's really a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that is like, it may sound corny, but like one of the best feelings is when you either get an email or get a text or get something and say, hey, we cooked this recipe and it turned out excellent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, then that makes me feel better because I actually wrote a recipe out that somebody else could follow.
Yep.
And it ain't just chicken scratch in a book that I wrote, you know?
Right.
And it's good, and people want to use it, and they want to share it, and they want to tell everyone about it. But you still have a full-time job.
I still
and
work
Emily.
45, 50 hours a week. And
So how do you find time? That was a question I wrote down. How do you find time to do your videos? If somebody starting out kind of gets an idea.
that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
My goal is this year to produce one every week. I didn't do one last week, but I mean, life happens.
You did?
Not this past week. I did one with you, yeah. But we usually try to shoot, if nothing else is going on and we don't have a contest or we're not doing something, try to shoot on Saturday. That usually don't happen. So we're usually filming Sunday evening, depending on the cook. If it's a long cook, you know, you have to do it on Saturday. And then as soon as it's over, I'm editing. I edit Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and usually, no joke, not in bed till midnight on Tuesday night, trying to get everything. And we live in the sticks, so our internet's slow as Christmas. So it takes all night to upload it. And then I hit the play button on it Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. And if you shoot a video, it's 4 days of work. You know, you think you're just filming and hitting. No, it's not that.
It is. It's a lot of work.
That was one thing I wrote on there on the notes, was talk about the editing process, because when we first started, we didn't know what editing was. We didn't edit. I mean, we just real time. It was real time barbecue. But
I'd
you know,
film you doing one step, and that would be a video, and then we'd film you doing another step, and that would be
it's raw.
Yeah.
I mean,
bad.
But we learned that the better videos flow, and they need that editing and they need the polishing, and that's really where your time is. I mean, you know, it's great we can come up with recipes and we can film it and, you know, capture it and it looks cool, but to be able to take it and go through the editing process and really make it look good to our standards, that's a big part of it. And I think that's what's helped your videos a lot, is that you sit down and taught yourself how to edit, you know.
I had a good 30-minute teacher.
Yeah, but the program we both use,
iMovie,
it makes it
great.
Really simple. Yeah.
I mean, it's
like editing for beginners or dummies.
I mean, it's simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a computer whiz by no means, and you sit down and spend a little time with it, and you kind of figure. Now, there's bells and whistles that I have no idea what do.
Yeah, me too.
But I know what the basics do, and we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, that's an important part. I think that you're taking the time and you're even spending more time. It takes you more time to get it to the upload stage than it does you to sit there and film it one afternoon or one day,
Right.
whatever you're doing. So, so you mainly in front of the camera.
I do every bit of that.
Emily is the camera person, just like Shell does it all for me.
She's behind the camera now. She's done several videos.
Yeah.
She enjoys doing the videos, but this is my channel. No. She's behind the camera. So
Yeah.
and she does really well with it, and she's learned. I mean, we both have.
Yeah. Does she edit too?
And
She's done a little bit, but she's never edited like start to finish.
yeah.
You know, my plan is to get her to that point. You know, need to rub off on her shell a little bit. Tell her it's so much fun, but
editing will stress me out sometimes. It
I've
really
learned
does.
too. Like, if you're not happy with it right when you film it, just do it again. I mean, a lot of things you can't, like if you're cutting a brisket, there is no going back.
Yeah.
If you're tasting something, there is no going back. If you're seasoning, you're not going to wash it off and do it again. But if you're not happy with it when you're at that point, do something to where you are happy with it, and then the editing comes a lot smoother.
Yeah. That's a good tip.
So once you get it all edited, you spend all that time. Walk us through what you do now to get it on YouTube, because a lot of people don't know.
I didn't know. So I may do this completely different than y'all do.
Yeah,
So,
I'll walk through what we do and after you.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'll get it done editing and I'll watch it 4 or 5 times. And that's what I still hate. I cannot stand watching myself and listening to myself, but it's part of it. Then I watch it, then I hand it to Emily. You watch it. Do you see anything that you do not like? Is there anything that's jumping out? Is it a glitch? Once all that's good, I upload it or I save it to a file, to like an MP4, MP3 file or whatever you call it. And then I'll watch it again because I've run into issues where somewhere in that saving, it'll lose a piece of it. It'll cut something out. The video will stop soon. Then I have to go back. But I think I've got that fixed. I think most of it's our 1940s laptop we do this with. But so once I get that done, then I just upload it to YouTube, and I'll do that on Tuesday night before I go to bed, go in there and hit start. And it's usually a 5 to 6 hour upload where we're at, That's it. I mean, it's a lot to, once you get it to YouTube, and of course, putting a description in, putting a recipe that somebody physically can look at and don't have to watch the video. So they can watch the video. Hey, that's great. Let me see how he done it. Read through it. Can you print off YouTube? I've never tried. Like, can you print a description?
You probably just copy and paste it to a notepad or a Word document.
I don't know.
So, I mean, that gives you a written image, I guess you'd say, to look at.
So there's all, but I was kind of getting at maybe Shell could kick in now about how important like this stage is, why you do what you do when you get it on YouTube.
So we kind of follow the same thing. I get it edited, and usually sometimes I'll get frustrated with editing. One tip I could say is I'll set myself like you have to edit for 30 minutes. I'll force myself to edit for 30 minutes, and by the time I get through that 30 minutes and get in the groove of it, I'll usually keep editing for a couple of hours. But that's just a tip to, don't let that roadblock of feeling intimidated or frustrated with it stop you. But then once it is edited, Malcom will watch it. We watch it several times and make sure everything's cool. Render it, upload it to YouTube. Then after it's uploaded to YouTube, I do some keyword searches. I make sure we got our keywords set. We set our title, description. Malcom writes the recipe. Then we upload it to the website. We turn it live. We announce it on Instagram. We announce it on Facebook. We also upload it to Facebook. Do you upload yours to Facebook?
I do.
Yeah. The thing with uploading it to Facebook is you don't get the watches on YouTube, but I've noticed that once I upload it to Facebook, it seems that the watches on YouTube also jump,
So I'll usually do similar. Like I'll actually copy the link that day of.
Yeah.
And then if I ever say for like St. Patrick's Day, I wanted to share that video right before the holiday, then I'll do the file and upload it to Facebook where it just automatically plays when you scroll by it.
Yeah.
And it does. It makes a difference.
Yeah. It kind of helps spread the word. And then we put it on our website as well.
I got to get better about that.
Yeah. I mean, people watch it on YouTube. You're doing the most important part.
We found mostly it's mobile devices. Yeah. That's the biggest chunk of the people watching our videos is mobile. So mobile's where it's at. I mean, and luckily on our app, it pulls it into that automatically too. So you can watch it in the app without going to YouTube. Now that does probably count the view, doesn't it? If you watch it
because it's an embed video at that point. So it's actually coming through YouTube.
Yeah.
With Facebook, I've actually uploaded a whole separate file to Facebook, so it's watching it from there and giving you a count from there.
I think keywords is that's the main driver, You
got to pick the right keywords. Yeah, definitely.
So how do you find your keywords?
I search videos. I mean, you got the keyword finder, like the Google ad thing. I've done that, but I'll try to find something similar to what we're watching and just see what word I punched in and search to find it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it takes a few minutes, but
it does. It's important though.
And I've went back in, if I have a video that's not doing what I think it should, I'll go back in and change keywords and redo it. And you can literally see a spike. You'll see the views come up.
That's a good tip.
And say
I've never done that.
The first video we done, the ribeye video on the pellet grill, for some reason I didn't put, I don't know if it was pellet grill or what I didn't share in the keywords, and I went back and changed it, and literally it was like you flipped a switch. And starts working.
Yeah.
A pellet grill searches anyway. Like
Yeah.
that's booming on YouTube right now.
I know. So what's your what do you recommend for someone that is starting out?
Invest in the camera. Don't be scared, and the biggest thing is be yourself. Be authentic. Don't step out in left field and try to be who you're not.
And be consistent. Don't stop.
Consistent, yeah.
Just stick with it.
I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and
Exactly.
the more your own style you develop. You can go back and look at our videos from years ago, and Malcolm's a little more stiff and probably wasn't just being himself, but he's developed his own style, and I've developed my own camera style and my own editing style and things like that. So
That's right. I mean, that's how it is. And
but you got to put in the work.
I'm still not 100% comfortable in front of the camera, but I've done it so much, it almost starts getting second nature to you. So you don't even realize it. And so I catch myself just flowing, and letting it roll. And I think that's what people like about a lot of it, is because it's more genuine that way. It's like, this is this guy. I'd hang out with him, or I'd eat some of that with him, or drink a beer with him, or whatever. And it's the same way with you. You just develop that rapport, and it's who you are. I think that's that factor in it alone makes your channel, makes your video watchable, and the people want to stay. They don't just click off of it when they see something, because
there's a lot of
there's a ton of choices out there. You can watch a lot of videos for them to come back, and for you to grow that fast. It's doing fantastic.
So that's a lot of, we get that question a lot. Like, I've started this YouTube channel and I've put out several barbecue videos, but I'm just not getting the traction. That's something that you've done really well. How do you think you do it?
No, I mean, me and you've had several conversations.
Yeah.
And like I said it earlier, we've been lucky to have y'all as a source. And, a lot of people, y'all started from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you didn't have that.
Nobody was doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody's doing it.
So, I mean,
we got made fun of a lot.
A lot.
It's almost like, taking a barbecue class, knowing somebody that's done it, getting that feedback is jumping years ahead right out the gate. And, I think, like you say, is, being genuine, and don't be scared if you mess up, show you messed up. Don't try to over edit it and make it look all Hollywood-fied or whatever you want to call it, I mean,
fake.
Yeah. If your dog poops in the backyard behind you, let the dog poop,
I think there's a video with a cat pooping. old video.
Our brisket video. Gus is in the back. And I was like, are you serious?
Just looking at camera. He's looking at camera.
And I mean, it's not like he's finishing up or he's starting out. He's mid poop.
It was an attention one, too. It was just for spite. Y'all out here not paying attention to me? I'll show you.
I got you.
That's a whole different photo bomb.
Look at that one. And that's the brisket video.
But I mean, it's.
So are you getting rich off YouTube? I get
That's
that.
No. It's no.
That's one thing I would have to say. You would think that we'd be millionaires, making millions of dollars because we almost have 1 million subscribers. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-mm.
I would strongly suggest, if you're getting into YouTube, you need to have something else to pay the bills, like sell some rub, or
Something.
If you're doing fishing shows, sell some fishing bait or something. You got to have something else.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
You do not make as much money on YouTube as you would think.
And what scares me is that there's no consistent factor in that.
Yeah.
So like everybody's like, well, how do you know how much you make? I was like, they send me a check. That's all. But what if it's not right? I couldn't tell you if it is or not.
You can argue.
Yeah.
Just say thank you.
Yeah. That's it. And I mean, I know there's like a algorithm or whatever they figured up with, but it's way over my head. And
they'll show you stats and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's no arguing with
You have no control what goes on it, what ads play. And when we're talking about making money from it, it's because we monetize these videos. And that's where you actually allow YouTube or Google to place ads on your video. You can pick where they go, whether they're played in the front, where they're played in the middle, at the back, wherever. And the more ads that play, the more money you do make if people watch them. That's the whole thing. They've got to. Do they have to click on them or just watch them?
There's different. You get
pay
different,
rates.
Different pay rates.
If they actually click on it, you probably make a little more. I really don't know. I'm like Mark. We never banked on YouTube money. We looked at YouTube from our standpoint as a way to share information And it's, if you make something off of it, great. We put it towards, other stuff, but it's not something that you rely on because, we hadn't mastered that. And I'm sure somebody has, and that's something we don't really know about. But.
Another thing is you can join a network. They have these networks that they try to encourage you to join. I don't think they're as popular now as they were a few years back, but
we were in one for a while.
Yeah. Basically, they say that they get you better ads and take a cut of your commission. But I found that that's not the way to go.
All it amounts to is they're taking 25-30% of your money.
Yeah. They just take a cut.
So your check's smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can get any smaller, Malcolm.
Give it time.
What's your favorite thing about YouTube?
I think the social networking. You do kind of, you don't know these people. You know some of them.
Yeah.
Like when Jay comments on a video like something stupid, I know that's Jay, but it's, I try to stay on top of comments.
Yes.
And
you're starting out, you have to.
You have
when
to.
you get to a point where you can't.
There's no way I could keep up with what y'all have going on, but I try to just because, you get a lot of helpful questions. You get a lot of tips, people that, hey, what about this? Hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
And you build a fan base that way, I think, too.
And it's still kind of weird. Like, we're nowhere near Malcom Reed, but it's still weird. Like, we'll be somewhere and like, hey, you done that video? I'm like, we did. Yeah. I had that. I can't get over that either. But
you watched it?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Awesome. Let me shake your hand. Thank you. That's what that's what I
feel that way still.
Whenever somebody tells me they watched it, I said, you did. I know the numbers say a bunch of them watched it, but hey, that's awesome.
We
appreciate you watching it.
I guess your number one fan is who's always crazy, and I'd have to say that's my dad.
Oh, really?
And
does he watch all? My dad watches all mine.
He'll so him and his mama, him and mama's on this plan, like this cell phone plan. Apparently, they only get so many gigs or whatever a month, and he will burn through them in like 4 days. And I'm like,
watching
YouTube. He's like, did you see what Malcolm cooked that day? I'm like, yeah, I was there. Yeah, I seen it.
My parents, both of my parents watch YouTube videos. It's crazy when you got the senior generations now watching. They're as hip on YouTube watching stuff. That's how people are getting entertainment. They're using that for TV. Mm-hmm. Regular TV, satellite TV, cable TV. They're hurting over YouTube's putting the hurting on them.
Oh yeah.
And with these streaming services too. It's crazy.
There's been several times when I have time to sit down and watch a show, and I'll end up watching stuff on
getting
YouTube.
stuck in the YouTube loop because it does loop you in. You start watching one thing and then it suggests all these others, and you watch them and it suggests something else. The next thing you know, it's 6 hours later, you've been glued to the screen.
And you're watching this goat eat hay behind this farm.
Oh, yeah. And the crazy thing is it's got the kids hooked. They've got the kids.
Yeah.
YouTube is, I don't know a kid that don't watch YouTube or know what it is. We have to monitor Michael and make him get off of it, limit his screen time because he would stay on it the whole time. He'd have it right in front of his face all day.
But he didn't care about TV.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Kids don't watch Saturday morning cartoons anymore. There's no. Yeah.
I don't even know if he knows how to.
It's all on YouTube.
Turn
6
on the
minute,
TV.
6 minute. I don't even know if they watch whole ones. They just watch these videos, short clips, and it's all. It's fast pace.
If we
got to limit your kids.
We need to get really, really fast at cooking, and we just do TikTok.
It's a great. I've been kicking around now, doing some different stuff with it because it's just another way to get yourself out there to get people to come to YouTube.
Yeah.
Even if it's just promoting what you're doing or something like that, or showing the finished product on TikTok. Everybody thinks it's just a kids thing now of high school or teenage kids making little clips, but there's going to be more and more going. You watch TikTok, it's going to blow up. Instagram did it. Snapchat done it, and it's kind of faded away. There's always going to be a platform that's next, and TikTok right now is it. It's skyrocketing.
What do you think the hardest thing was about becoming a YouTuber?
Fear.
Yeah.
Getting over that. It's not that I'm not trying to say you're scared, but it's, it's a lot of nerves involved.
Oh, yeah.
And
what are they going to say about
exactly?
Well, the fear of not knowing what you're doing, because we still feel like that a lot of times.
oh gosh,
not just putting yourself out there. It's like, am I doing this right? Am I uploading it right? Am I going to mess up on cameras? Is everybody going to laugh at me? They're going to tell me I got diabetes and going to die. They wish Mark would put on weight. It's too skinny.
Yeah. Never trust a skinny cook.
You get all that, but you got to get over that fear, and it really is. That is the hardest thing. Once you get a few under your belt, and you've been doing it coming up on a year, and you see the potential of it, and even if you're not growing like that, you're still putting out stuff. Just keep doing it, because Ours didn't grow near as fast as yours.
No.
I mean, I remember it took us, we thought getting 10,000 was like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
We thought that was going to be the greatest thing ever. We had 10,000 people on YouTube.
I don't think we really kind of started, I don't want to say snowballing, but really picking traction up until we hit over 100,000.
Yeah. And the 100, that's like, there's no way it's not going anymore. This many people aren't watching barbecue. Who's going to watch? And I remember I told Shell, it's like, there's no way. We can never do more than
I always
this.
believed.
And Shell's like, watch, we're going to get 1 million. And I said, there's no way we're going to get 1 million. And hopefully by June 3rd, our anniversary, we're going to push to get that 1 million. We'll see. That might be our anniversary party, Mark. We might throw 1 million party.
Oh, I want to throw them.
Everybody's invited.
No.
No, we got to wait till this virus. We might have to postpone this for 1 year. We might have to stall a little bit. I can't have everybody come.
We're going to have fever checkers.
Where can we get 1 million people together? All online. Maybe we just do it online. Maybe we stream the party. How about that, Shell?
Okay, there you go.
Can you do that? Yeah. We could just do that, us three, right here. Just, yeah, woo. Bring that big bottle of TX whiskey I got stashed in there.
Do you plan to do
tonic.
YouTube?
They say if you drink tonic, it's good for you. So I got to stop.
I've always thought a good shot of whiskey on.
Not the whiskey. It's you think the whiskey goes with it? You got gin and tonic. That's what I'm talking about.
I can't do tonic.
Something about that quinine in it or something.
I hate the tonic.
It's the quinine. It's gonna kill that virus.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Do you plan to do YouTube for a long time, Malcolm?
I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I mean, I can see me being an old man still. Like Justin Wilson's one of my idols, and he was making cooking videos when I was a little boy, and he was the coolest old man I know, doing Cajun videos and cooking and telling jokes. Now, I'm not the comedian, but I think I could still keep doing these videos as long as somebody's watching them. I'll keep making them as long as you record them. I probably wouldn't do it if I had to set the camera up myself. And
yeah. If he had to edit,
he had to. As long as you just want to capture me cooking and telling tales, I can do that. It's only going to get better. What about you, Mark?
Oh yeah,
you see the potential.
It's a lot of potential. It's to me, it's something to help promote our hobby, and get our product out there and. Get other people's products out there. It's not just about us. It's a ton of partnerships. I mean, us working together last weekend, grow together, and that's what it's all about.
I think so too. You're right. It's communal, and
it is.
I see ours growing and going into something like that and starting other projects.
Helping other people. Yep, that's my, yep. I don't think you get,
anywhere by yourself like that. Yeah. Just thinking about yourself. I got you, Shell. I know where you're at.
And I don't think it's necessarily about, just barbecue.
No,
that's my background and that's what we've, our passion, but I don't want to limit ourselves to that. If we want to cook, have a recipe in the kitchen, making spaghetti over the stovetop, whatever, or just cooking in general and then kind of
blowing stuff up.
Yeah. Stuff up.
Y'all been talking about blowing stuff up on a YouTube channel for a while.
So, I mean, it's more to it than that. And I eventually want to grow into that to where it's more of a lifestyle and not just barbecue.
I agree.
Wise lady once told me.
Do you have any upcoming videos?
We're going to try to do 2 this weekend. I got to make up for this past week.
Yeah.
And we're actually, this weekend I'm planning on taking a chuck roast and trimming it down just like similar to a ribeye, an overgrown ribeye, tying it, jacquarding it, doing a salt brine overnight, and reverse searing it just like a ribeye.
Cook it at what doneness?
About 125, 128.
A chuck roast.
Interesting.
I've done it. I've done it before.
Like a choice grade, or prime, or really, man. I don't know how that turns out.
It's like a tender sirloin.
Does it get tender? I imagine it stay tough.
Yeah.
Well, the deal is, like, I'm gonna try to do it. So I ordered another grill today. Don't tell Emily.
Too late. If she listens.
Yeah. What did you order?
It'll be too late. It'll be here tomorrow. I ordered a PK360.
Oh, did you? Really? Cool.
So my plan is to fire it up and 2's on fire, keep it as cool as I can. If I run at 225 and really bring that chuck roast up really slow and then sear it off, good finish temp about 125 and then rest it. Try to keep it at that temperature as long as I can to really break it down. And jacquarding it, you're going to make it tender.
Yeah.
I might go a little crazy with the jacquard, but.
So the plan is to slice it?
Mm-hmm. Slice it, about like you would a flat iron, just a overgrown ribeye.
And what do you think the cook time is going to be on that?
every bit of an hour,
Oh,
hour
okay.
15.
From start to finish.
And then
That'd be a good
That'd be
quarantine
good.
cook.
What's your other one?
other one is I got some accessories for a cooker. So our
Okay.
little outlaw patio is getting a lift kit and all kind of stuff. You know, we're going to deck it out. you
Any
know.
any updates on the new Outlaw that we're going to use for Memphis and whenever Memphis and wherever
should
Memphis,
be-
Memphis and question
Fall.
mark Memphis and question mark.
Yeah. I talked to Jay the other day with Outlaw, and it was coming out of powder coat. So she ought to be getting close. I'm almost too scared to cook on it. It's gonna be
Really?
too pretty.
I'm excited to see it.
It's going to look good. So
Lady in Red.
What do you have? Any videos you got coming?
I'm gonna do some what's in the freezer videos
that's kind of where the chuck roast come from.
because
So.
the stores are out,
Quarantine.
man. You know, meat's kind of slim, so I actually found a skirt steak that I had in the freezer for a while, and I've got it
good
thawing
stuff.
out. But I'm not gonna do like I'm gonna do like a meal style video. I've got an idea. It's going to be some chicken and some, probably some asparagus and some potatoes or something that somebody could throw together. Probably they got something in the freezer they could do this recipe with. But then I'm also going to try to get you to record me just some raw, using the
Yeah.
phone, no special audio. It's probably going to be on that skirt. I'm going to do some skirt steak, carne
probably just
asada, or
gonna be-
tacos or something like that. Just so you can see what we're eating while we're stuck at home emptying the freezers.
This week it was deer sloppy joe.
We've ate
Missing sloppy joe.
we made another Mississippi pot roast.
Yeah.
And
That's
we had
what we got
soup, and tonight's probably going to be cereal. I mean, it's getting down, man. But we're trying to stay out of them grocery stores as much as possible. So
I did. I put my comp order in with Kevin down
Yeah.
at the butcher shop, and of course it got canceled. But I'm gonna let the order roll in. And I called him. I was like, "Look, Brian's gonna be down there Sunday. Load it up. Like, I don't care. Just surprise me. I think I'm getting some ground beef, a couple of chuck roasts, a couple
He's
of
got some
chuck
killer ground
steaks.
beef.
You know, I said he's coming down there. I said I don't care. Just send me an invoice, because I mean you ain't gonna buy nothing around here.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I saw him post that.
Actually,
Got his
yeah.
shelves.
And
stocked
locally,
up.
if you are here, I saw Brad up at the butcher shop and TK out at Raymond. So they both had meat.
Mhm.
And Fayette Packing said they had meat too. So if anybody can't find it in grocery stores, you probably could go to some of these local butcher
Butchers, yeah.
shops.
I got enough chicken thighs in the freezer right now.
You got Springer Mountain
Yeah.
chicken, right? Times
That's
get
what-
bad. I need some chicken, Mark.
That's what I
I
wanted
got some
to
ribs.
do.
I found some Smithfield extra tenders at Walmart, and they had no meat except they had some pork. They had I guess they just got a truck in, and I was like, man, these are some beautiful ribs. I got that contest coming up. I might as well stash some. So I
That's
stuck
what we
them in the
need to
freezer.
do. Like the next month's video, all these people that's done hoarded all this crap. They can't cook it. Like, you done bought something you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna teach you how to cook it.
Oh man,
It's
Well,
pretty crazy.
Well,
that's
that about does it. Mark, I want to thank you for coming out.
Thank y'all.
tell us where you can find it,
Yeah.
man.
So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. It's
subscribe to
Swine
this
Life
channel.
BBQ. And got any questions? Shoot us a message. We'll be glad to help out.
And we'll have a link there to your YouTube channel, Swine Life BBQ. Go subscribe.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Tell
Thanks
me what I'm
for-
doing wrong.
Thelks for coming on the podcast today, hanging out with us,
Thanks for helping
and
us
for
cook
doing the
crawfish.
video.
Yeah.
And we may do one of them crazy crawfish videos where we put all kinds of your favorite stuff in it
Load
and
it
load
up.
it on your channel. How about that?
That works.
I'm down to eat some more crawfish. I didn't get full of them yet. I'd like to get 6 or 8 crawfish
Yeah.
bowls in.
At
Every
least
other
there
weekend.
for-
So, well, hey, Shell, where can they find us?
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram, and I don't check Twitter. So,
Thank y'all for hanging out with us this week, and we'll be back next week if the good Lord's willing. See y'all.